You know when you ask somebody how they're doing and they reply with, I can't complain? I don't know if I believe that. What do you mean you can't complain? Of course you can complain. I mean, there's plenty of things to complain about. If you can't find anything to complain about, all you have to do is just browse social media for a few minutes or turn the news on or listen around you. I mean, take a look, focus. There's plenty of things to complain about. And if that doesn't work, I could always give you some things myself to complain about, until you get on your own feet and can find your own things to complain about. I can't complain. Of course you can. There's always something to complain about. And I tell you what, I could have complained last night. That's for sure. Last night was a crazy night. In fact, I remember saying earlier yesterday, I don't know if I'm going to get a podcast out this week. It just kind of snuck up on me, and now the weekend is here, and I really don't have anything to talk about. And then last night happened. It was a story. I mean, I've been around a lot of decades, okay, but I've never had a story happen quite like last night. I mean, I've been close before, but never quite like this. And I definitely could have complained last night, but I didn't.
What?
And I wanted to tell you why I didn't, because...
Cool story, bro.
It's a pretty cool story, bro. So stick around. You'll be happy you did.
This is HappyLifeStudios.
This message is for you. This message is for you. This message is singular to you. It's not for anybody else. It's not hard to get. It's not hard to get. It's not hard to understand.
Hey, are you happy?
Now that's a great question.
Does your sun set high? Does your sun set high?
Welcome to HappyLifeStudios. Happier.
What's up, Happy Lifers? Thanks for joining us today. I am so happy you did. Last night was insane. Like I said, I don't know if I've ever had a night like this one in all my years of living. I mean, I've come close a couple of times having something like this, and several things happened last night, and I've had those things happen in life before, but never back to back to back like they did last night. But like I said, it's a cool story, bro.
That's the coolest story I've ever heard in my entire life. That's insane. Can I hear it again?
Of course. It started yesterday afternoon when my buddy called me up on the phone and said, "How you doing?" I said, I'm doing all right. I was going through some stuff. But he said, well, I just felt like I was supposed to call you. I felt like God wanted me to call you. And I said, oh, that's kind of cool. What do you think God wanted me to know? And he says, well, I don't know. I just felt like he wanted me to call you and just say that I guess you're on his radar screen. And I said, that's pretty cool. I had actually been praying something along the line earlier that day, just going, God, am I even on your map? Am I even like? And then all of a sudden, my buddy calls me up, an hour or so later and says, I just feel like I'm supposed to call you. So that was really cool. We started talking a little bit, and in the conversation, I mentioned how my son was going to be playing a show. He plays, all my sons play drums, and I love to listen to them play drums. They've all played in bands, and I'm just a proud father. So I told him my son was playing that night. He asked me where, and I told him where, and it was way up north. I mean, way up north. And my buddy lived like another hour south of me, and he was actually doing some work. He says, man, we should go. We should go. And I don't think I would have went. I asked my son if I could go, and he said, sure, if you want to come, I suppose that would be okay. But I wasn't going to go because it was just so far away, and all of a sudden my buddy just kept pushing me, and he kept, like, we should really go, man. That would be cool, just like a bro trip. And he says, he won't even know that you're there. And truth is, I didn't tell him I even went up there because I didn't go up there to give him like kudos or anything like that. I just wanted to just listen to my son play and bask in the moment. And I tell you what, it was a fantastic moment. And it wasn't just a moment. It was like hours long. It was a really long moment, I guess you could say. And I just loved listening to him play. And I don't really need to talk much more about that. I just really wanted to set the stage that my buddy called me and he said, well, I just want to let you know that I felt like God wanted you to know that you're on his radar screen, which meant a lot to me. But I think the one of the biggest reasons he called was for us to go up there that night. So we left around 8-something, and we got up there, and it was a late show, and we were there for a long time. We didn't leave until it was after midnight sometime. We had a long drive home. I mean, we had to drive back down through Seattle, and it was probably an hour and a half drive, maybe more, something like that. Well, on the way home, there's 2 ways that we can go. I met him on the road, and I parked in a mall parking lot, and then we carpooled up. We bro-pooled up, right? So on the way home, there's 2 ways we can get back to that point, so he could drop me back off at my car. We can either go down Interstate 5, which takes you through downtown Seattle. It's just such a cool drive. Or we could take Interstate 405, which goes the other way. It's kind of like makes a circle around Seattle, and my car was on the other side of that circle, so we could have went either way. Well, we chose Interstate 5 because it's just such a pretty drive. I remember when I first came here, I've lived in the Midwest my whole life, and when I came out here to the Northwest, it is so beautiful out here. And it was so cool for me. I mean, you got Lake Washington, you got the mountains, and I just love driving through Seattle, but I don't do it much because the traffic is so insane. It's so nuts that no matter how beautiful the scenery is, it can get lost in all of the traffic and all of the, slowed down parking lot on the highway. I mean, because the traffic just gets so bad. Seattle traffic is it's horrendous. And so oftentimes I don't go that way, but I always like it when I do go that way. And now is a good time because it was after midnight. We're going to fly, right? Wrong. I mean, we got down there and all of a sudden, we're just cruising, all of a sudden brake lights, and we have to hit the brakes pretty hard. And everything was stopped. It was, like I said, a parking lot, which is what you expect on I-5, but not at midnight. And honestly, my buddy had to get up early for work the next day. So we wanted to get to my car as soon as we could. We had a great time, but now we just needed to be done so we can go to bed so my buddy could wake up the next morning. And we were tired. We wanted to get to bed. And by this time, it was coming on around 1 o'clock or later, maybe even 2 o'clock in the morning. And so we were just tired, had a long day, a great day, a fantastic day, a bro day. And we're ready to get home, And all of a sudden, the traffic comes to a stop, and it's like a parking lot, and we're not moving. And it's after 1 o'clock in the morning. And my friend said, I don't understand what could cause this. Is it an accident? And I looked up ahead, and I said, no, I think that they're taking us off the highway. And they had closed down the highway for road construction. I mean, everywhere I've lived, people have always said, we got 2 seasons here, winter and road construction. So everywhere I've gone, it's been like that, but it's definitely that way in Seattle too. And they closed down the entire highway for several exits, and they were routing us through downtown Seattle, which also had a bunch of construction going on it. And I guess the good news is if you're going to do that, midnight on a Friday night is probably a good time to do that. You don't have as much traffic. But I tell you what, there was a lot of traffic because we were stuck. Finally, we just got tired of waiting, and all of a sudden we decided to just turn off on this road because he knows downtown Seattle, and he's like, if we turn off here, we can get on the highway. And sure enough, we turned off where there was no traffic, and we started heading up to the exit. But where the exit takes us to Interstate 5, there's no one on that road. Well, there's a reason there's no one on that road. Because when we got up to that exit, we realized that exit is closed. That's where we had just come from. But we ended up at the same place, only now we were farther back in line because I had to get back in line again. I said to him, you want me to check on my Waze app? Waze is a great app, and they keep it current, right? In fact, Google bought out Waze and did a lot of their reconstructing of Google Maps were based off of how Waze did it. But what's cool about Waze is people can type in what's going on in real time. So Waze, when you're driving down the road, it'll actually tell you, turn off here, and it'll take you through a neighborhood. But it does it a lot in L.A. when I'm down there. And you go through all these little neighborhoods, like, where are you going? Well, it's bypassing the highway, and you'll pull out on the highway a few miles down, but way ahead of the cars that you were behind earlier. So Waze, it keeps it current. So he's like, yeah, check it out. So I punch in Waze, and sure enough, turn here, and we can go, okay. So we turn. He says, no, if we turn here, we're going to get stuck. I said, bro, the app right here, Waze is telling us to go here, and Waze is always current. So I would trust Waze, He's like, okay, but I'm telling you, this is going to take us on this. And I said, well, all I know is it says right here, maybe up here it's telling us, and I'm trying to read the map, and we finally, what else are we going to do? We're driving according to that. And when we get there, we're back at another exit that's also closed on I-5. And the only option at that point, we couldn't turn around. We had to get on northbound, going back the direction we had just come from. And to get around, there's only a couple of bridges that you can get over to get back over on 405. And one of the bridges we hadn't even got to yet because it was I-90 and I-5 was closed. We never even got to it yet. And the other one was just on the other side when we had just exited. It's called 520, but it's a toll bridge and it costs like $10 or something to take it. But the only other option is to drive all the way up around where we had just come from. And so we just decided to take the toll bridge and we're driving it. And my buddy's like, dude, this is going to cost us like $10. I'm like, I know, right? But what are we supposed to do? I mean, we were stuck. We had no other way to go. Once you get on that 520, there's really not any way to get off it and you're just stuck. So we finally get over to 405 and at least we're moving, at least we're driving, at least we're going to get to the car so we can finally get home. We had a little bit of a detour, but we're going to be okay. We get on 405 and road construction is going on there and they've got it down to one lane. Like, are you kidding me? I mean, why would a city close down 405 and 5 the same night? I mean, between those two highways, there was one lane open. I just don't. Can we work on one while the other one stays open? So now we're back in the line, you know. And then because we'd done so much driving, all of a sudden my buddy was like, crap. And I was like, wait a minute. Did we just run out of gas? Because I could tell the way the car was acting. He says, yep. And I went, oh my word. And the exit just happened to be there. So we go through the exit, but then we run out of gas. And now it's like 2:00 in the morning and we're out of gas. And we know that there's actually, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. There's a 7-Eleven, but it's like a mile down the road. I'm like, what do? I can call AAA or I can call roadside assistance or whatever, but it's going to take them hours to get out there. And all of a sudden my buddy says, well, do you want to try to push it to the gas station? And I was like, yes. And we did. We pushed it. See, like I said, I've done this before. I've run out of gas before, but I've never pushed my car a mile to the gas station. Oh my word. And we were so lucky, so blessed because the road was pretty flat. There were some points where it was kind of going up, but man, I was huffing and puffing and ready to blow the house in. No lie. I mean, I was breathing heavy. It was like, I'm too old for this, right? Well, we finally got it pushed all the way into the 7-Eleven. Thank heaven for 7-Eleven. Thank heaven if 7-Eleven were like a mile closer would have been great. And then we got on our way and we finally got everything taken care of and went home, right? I got home at like 3:00 in the morning. So if you're looking for something to complain about, I could give you a bunch of stuff right there to complain about. But the amazing part is I didn't complain. And I'm a good complainer. I can see things from a negative standpoint, but I didn't. I was actually shocked when I think about it. But I'll tell you why. There's a couple reasons why I didn't complain. First of all, because I've run out of gas before myself. And I know what he was thinking, right? Whenever you have to know your car, but you follow the needle. When the needle hits empty and then the light comes on that says you need to put more gas in, you've always got another 20 miles on there, sometimes even more. And that's what he was planning on. Because there was a gas station where he was going to drop me off at my car, which is only a few more miles down the road. So that's what we were going to do, right? He said the needle hadn't even hit the E yet and it ran out of gas. But where it ran out of gas, he said it was all that driving around downtown that caused us to run out of gas when we did. But the good part is that we ran out of gas right where there was an exit right there. And there's a gas station. Yes, it was a mile away, but it was a mile away and it was on a road that's flat. And in Seattle, that's kind of a miracle right there. So I've run out of gas before myself, all over the country. I've sat on not all of the country. It's only happened a few times. It doesn't happen like dozens of times, but where I'm on the phone, I'm thinking about what I'm going to talk about, where I'm traveling, what I'm doing there, and then I got to call AAA or my insurance, roadside assistance. I got so many run out of gas stories. But we won't get into all of those right now. Because the point I'm trying to make is I could complain, but I didn't. And I was surprised that I didn't complain. And the one reason I didn't complain was because I've done the same thing. And could I gotten angry at him for running out of gas? I could have. But wouldn't that be kind of hypocritical? Because I've run out of gas too. And the other reason I didn't get angry is because of what we were just singing right when this thing happened. Like right before we hit the traffic in Seattle, Metallica came on the radio.
And nothing else matters.
And my buddy was just singing, nothing else matters. and he was just singing away at it. But when you realize that, sometimes life is trying to answer our problems. Sometimes the situation around us is a solution to what's going on. The situation can be a solution, but we've got to see it from a different perspective. I could have complained, and if I would have complained, I would have missed the whole thing. But I didn't complain because it's happened to me before, and because I didn't complain, it actually came to my mind that we were just singing Nothing Else Matters. And that's the other reason I didn't complain, because you know why? I got to go see my son play. And I got to go with my bro. And yes, it was several hours, but we were bros hanging out together. And then my bro was talking to me about, how many times can I say bro in the next paragraph? But we were talking about my son. He was enjoying my son as much as I was. And it was such a cool moment. My son is playing all these tunes from the 90s that I was just jamming to. And it was so much fun. So I could complain, but why complain? I got to see my son. I got to hang out with my friend. So I could complain, but why? Which reminds me of another song that came on during this whole podcast process. And it's a song by Grits, and it's called Believe. And listen to some of the lyrics of the song, Believe by Grits. And you'll see that they fit right in with the lyrics by Metallica. How all these things come together, if we just pay attention, life is trying to tell us something. God is often trying to use life to tell us things. And I think when we complain, we shut that venue off. We shut off that ability. We're just spending our time complaining, and we don't see the solutions. Check out some of these lyrics by the song Believe by Grits. You can make it on a prayer. Yeah, that's true. Barely getting by when you can do more. Why would you want to? Life's a hassle. Be prepared to wrestle. It can be rough, but it don't have to. You can make it full of smiles, something to laugh to. So pick and choose. And that's what I did. I picked not to complain. Because life can be rough, but doesn't have to be. We can choose to pick the smiles and something to laugh at. And I've laughed several times about us pushing that car, and I'm going to have a story for the rest of my life. Was pushing that car for a mile difficult? Yes. Did I want to do it? No. Am I going to talk about it for the rest of my life? Uh-huh. And every time I drive past that area, I'm going to think about that moment, and it's going to bring back a warm moment because I got to listen to my son. I got to hang out with my bro. Check out these lyrics from Nothing Else Matters.
Trust I seek and I find in you. Every day for us something new. Open mind for a different view. And nothing else matters.
Trust I seek and I find you. Every day for us something new. Open mind for a different view. And nothing else matters. An open mind for a different view. It's our choice. We get to pick. I just did a YouTube short. Please follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Just search HappyLifeStudios and you'll be able to find us and like our stuff and share our stuff. Help us spread this happy to the world so when people can complain, they have something else to help them not complain. And I just put it out on all our on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, and it was a short, it was a reel, a TikTok off of an Einstein quote. And here it is. I just got out of my gym, Thrive Community Fitness in Maple Valley, Washington, and I've got a thought that'll make you thrive. Einstein said that weakness of attitude becomes weakness of character. Now, if that's true, and I completely believe that it is, then that would also mean that strength of attitude would become strength of character. It seems to me, if we want to live a happy life, and we all do, then we should start by trying to develop a happy attitude despite what the circumstances may be around us. So let's start this weekend. It's the weekend, and I hope you have a happy one. So happy weekend, everybody, and maybe, just maybe, your weekend will turn into your character. Now that's a thought that'll make you thrive.
Happy weekend!
So we have a choice. Weakness of attitude develops weakness of character, but strength of attitude develops strength of character. I could have been mad last night. I'm not saying I wasn't tempted, but every time I got tempted, I kept remembering what we were singing. Nothing else matters. My buddy he's texted me several times saying, thank you. And every time he texts me and says, thank you for helping him, I keep texting back, nothing else matters. Because what really matters is I got to hear my son and I got to hang out with my bro. That's what really matters. So I could have complained, but I didn't, because I chose a different view. I chose to smile and laugh instead of complain. So I chose to laugh and smile. Because as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Last night, my bro and I were sharpening each other by running out of gas, by driving in traffic, by just wanting to be home. That's actually found in the Bible, that statement. It's been around thousands of years. The book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 17. As iron sharpens iron, one person sharpens another. And that's what bros do. That's what good friends should do. We should be sharpening each other. But sometimes things, when sharp, they can cut you, right? I mean, I could have gotten really angry last night. It could have been cutting. It could have been biting. I could have bit back. How in the world did you run out of gas? And why in the world, the stupid traffic? And don't get me wrong, we weren't happy about the traffic, right? But it could have gotten real bad. We could have cut each other. When you sharpen each other, sometimes that happens. I like how the Passion Translation words it. It takes a grinding wheel to sharpen a blade. And so one person sharpens the character of another. We all want to have good character, but to get good character, sometimes we have to be in the grinding wheel of a relationship. Sometimes you have to run out of gas at 2 o'clock in the morning. My friend and I are closer now because of that happening. I like how the Amplified version says that same line. They word it like this: iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend to show rage or worthy purpose. We can sharpen each other to a point of rage. I could have gotten angry last night, or I could have seen the purpose last night. I could either say, what in the world? How do we run out of gas? What's up with all this traffic? And I could have complained. I could have shown rage. Or I could have sang, and nothing else matters. I could complain, or I could sing, and nothing else matters. It's our choice. We get to pick and choose. Just like those lyrics. You can make it on a prayer, yeah, that's true. Barely getting by when you can do more. But why would you want to? Life's a hassle. Be prepared to wrestle. It can be rough, but it don't have to. You can make it full of smiles, something to laugh to. So pick and choose. It's our choice. You can complain, but you don't need to. Why complain when you can sing instead? Come on, sing with me. I dare you. Come on. And nothing else matters. Thanks so much for listening. I hope that helps your happy.
Make just someone happy, and you will be happy too.
Remember, life isn't perfect. It can be tough, but that doesn't mean it can't be happy.
StevoHays.
We just need to choose it.